All right, everyone, hello and welcome to another episode of Sugar-Free Self-Care TV. I'm here with one of my clients named John, and he was super awesome to work with. I'm super excited to have him on the show today and just kind of talk more about his story, what got him to start working with me and what he gained from this whole experience. So thank you so much, John, for joining me on my show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And you forgot to say that I was your favorite client.
I did forget. Thank you so much for reminding me. John was my number one favorite client in the world.
Until
That's
the
not a
next one
very
comes
easy
along.
title. Huh?
Yep. Until the next one comes along.
Oh, well, right now this is your title, so you could own that.
Perfect.
All right, John. But oh my goodness, so where do I begin? Like, first of all, I just want to say working with John has just been so much fun. Like, I love what I do, especially just meeting people in different parts of the country. And John was just, I don't know, we would just have a lot of fun, and it was awesome having our sessions together. So, all
Yeah,
right, John. So
definitely
first I want
been
to,
a fun 3 months.
it was a super fun 3 months, and you really learned a lot. You did so much. I'm so proud of everything you accomplished, and we are going to learn a little bit more about that. Before we talk about what you gained from the program, though, tell us a little bit more about your before, maybe before working with me. Like what got you interested in working with me? What was it like your eating habits, your wellness habits before you met me?
Yeah, so I mean, I was about 50 pounds over what I was when I first got married. And that was almost 7 years ago. And earlier this year during COVID and everything, I was like, well, I'd like to, lose weight. And that's, I'd always been telling myself that I wanted to lose that 50 pounds. And so then, just being locked up at home and thinking, well, this is a great opportunity to actually tackle a weight loss challenge. And because one of my number one vulnerabilities is eating out. Obviously, that doesn't happen very much anymore. So, but just in a constant cycle of trying to lose weight and telling myself I would do it, and then not really having a solid plan, just trying to like cut back a little bit here and there, and it never really seemed to work. And then so just going through that constant cycle of like, oh, I'm gonna hit my goals and I'm gonna do this on my own, obviously was not working. So I met Charmaine, and she's like, yeah, I bet you could lose 30 pounds in 3 months. And so I took her up on the challenge.
Yay! And I'm so glad you did, because I feel like that's one of the biggest barriers for anyone starting a weight loss program is there's so much doubt in the beginning and so much fear of like failure. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know, this lady saying I could lose 30 pounds. I don't know if I really could, but that's so awesome. You took me up on that challenge, and you took that, you betted on yourself to get that done. So I was curious though, like what were your thoughts on eating sugar-free and low carb? Because I don't know if you were ever considering that before joining. Like, did that scare you? What was your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say that sugar is probably one of my number one, it's not probably, it is my number one weakness. And so that was something that I knew I needed to tackle head on and address in order to achieve better health. I mean, obviously there's a lot of scary stuff going on right there right now with COVID, and people who are diabetic seem to be more predisposed to, I don't know if I use the right word there, predisposed
Right.
to dying from COVID. But I mean, beyond that, I mean, just diabetes in general is not a fun thing. So I'm like, I don't think I was ever pre-diabetic or diabetic at all, but I definitely didn't want to head down that road anymore. And I could just tell that my energy, even though I was drinking lots of coffee and and eating lots of sugar, my energy was still lacking. And one of the things that kind of in our introductory call, like that Charmaine had told me, and that I had a hard time believing at first, was that you don't have to feel that afternoon slump where you want to take a nap after you eat lunch. And I was like, wow, that seems a bit far fetched, but I've come to find out otherwise, and it's all has everything to do with carbs and sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it really like is a kind of very uncomfortable thing to do when you've been eating so much more carbs and sugar um, for so long, especially like the 7 years you said since you married, and changing those habits could be daunting to people. But when you actually started doing the program, like eating sugar-free, like, and when I say sugar-free to everyone, basically what I recommend is eating about 20 grams of net carbs a day or 50 grams of total carbs a day. And it's very based on getting a lot of protein in and a lot of healthy natural fats, like from animals, especially like butter, ghee, lard. So when you're eating this way, what was that like for you? Because a lot of people are freaked out when they think of not having a lot of their favorite foods and carbs as much as they used to. So when you're going through this process, what did that feel like? Did it feel like restricted or depriving at all? Or how did you come to terms with it? Like, does it feel sustainable to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the first 2 weeks is kind of like the first, like if you can make it through the first 2 weeks, then you can make it for however long, right? Because you come to grips with the fact that you don't have to go hungry all the time. You can still be stay full pretty much all the time with this plan. Um, I almost said diet, but I learned through this thing that I'm not supposed to call it a diet. So it's
See,
a
this is why John's
life.
my favorite. He learns what I say. That's awesome. But go ahead.
Anyways, and that was one of the fun things about working with Charmaine is that she knows how to beat me over the head pleasantly. So um,
That is such a like fun way to say that. That's so funny.
yeah, it's like while she's beating me over the head, I'm laughing. So, um, but the thing about those first 2 weeks is that it's there's definitely a lot of sugar cravings that you're fighting off during that, and um, that was my biggest challenge was like going into the store and trying to find snacks and things that and foods that I could eat, and just learning that learning those things that the things that I like, the things that I can still have, and just focusing in on those, and kind of just blocking out in your mind what you can't have, because when you just stare at a section of shelves in the grocery store that's just everything you can't have, then you're just going to be you're just torturing yourself. So focus on what you can eat, fill up on that, and enjoy it, because I mean obviously I would say that even though we don't eat out nearly as much, there's still some good restaurant food that's out there that we can still enjoy, and not suffer because of it. So um, yeah, I would just say that those first 2 weeks was the most daunting with the sugar cravings, and I did have to kind of get quite a bit of coaching through those first 2 weeks, and just fighting the feelings and the thoughts. And that's a lot of what I enjoyed about this program as well, was the um, coaching and training on how to overcome those thoughts and feelings, because those are really the enemy.
Yeah, like having those thoughts that are like either coming up for you that are automatic, like, because it's really like it's like I like to think about it as when you're becoming a new person and when you're starting to create new habits, like you're always going to be affected by your old habits, your old patterns. So like I feel like what you're describing is that transition of like when you're starting to break free from the old habits, it really could feel like 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 just like it's a pull, it's like something's pulling you or like trying to drag you down and hold you back. And so that's what's coming up, like all those thoughts that are like your old thinking. Like could you give an example of maybe some old ways you were thinking of food before and how you maybe think about it now? Like what kind of shifts you've made in your mindset that might be helpful for people who struggle with you know, craving the foods they liked so much?
Right. I mean, obviously some of the thoughts, you know, in my mind, um, when I'm fighting sugar is that, I'm never gonna be able to eat this again, and I just love this so much. But that's why the Joy Eat comes into play, is because if you can delay a gratification but still plan it out, to me that Joy Eat once a week has been key, because if I had just tried to go cold turkey and say I'm not going to eat any sugar for 3 months, I would have given up a long time ago. Because
Yeah.
you know me, I like my ice cream and my peanut butter candy and everything
I,
else that you had to see on my logs.
I mean, I have to say, you guys, like before John started working with me, I think a lot of you can resonate with this, but he was really like snacking a lot, like eating like mindlessly, kind of always just wanting to eat something just for the sake of like eating, like
Yeah, my
preoccupying
mouth just
yourself.
had to be moving. Yeah.
Right, right, which I hear so much from people. They're just like, I just need to like put something in my mouth. And especially at home right now, this is why I'm so glad you're this example, John, for people watching this right now, because so many people right now are struggling with that, like constantly wanting to go to the fridge and constantly like wanting to eat um, like without really thinking about what they're doing. So I love how you said the piece about the planning ahead, especially planning the Joy Eat. So what I do in my program, you guys, just in case you're not sure what that means, is once a week, even though this is a low carb, majority sugar-free program, it's my philosophy where once a week you can eat whatever you want. Doesn't matter the carbs, whatever. It's just some food that you love, that you really crave, like once a week, to help mitigate the cravings. And so when you had those Joy Eats once a week, what was that like for you, John? Like, what was your relationship like with food? Like, was it starting to change when you started having them weekly? How did that feel for you?
Yeah, because when you have so much of something, even if it's special and very much a treat, when you have it all the time, then it's not really a treat, right? So um, that was my problem, is I was treating myself all the time. So by moving that more towards the one Joy Eat per week, it was something to look forward to, and to even though honestly I don't think about it nearly as much now, being 3 months into this. um, I don't think about the Joy Eat nearly as much now, but in the beginning, training your cravings, as we you can copyright that, by the way. um, but
I
just
will.
getting, what's that?
I will. Thank you. He's given me so many ideas that I stole from him.
Yeah. Now she can deal with any, if she can successfully coach me, she can coach anybody. So
Oh, thank you.
she's very patient, and because I was very frustrating. But anyways, the just the mindset shift of like, I'm gonna have one treat a week, focus on that, plan on that, and then and it also makes you a little bit more picky about, like, well, if I'm only gonna have one Joy Eat, what is it gonna be? And I'm not just gonna eat some cheap piece of chocolate, that's half wax. Like, you're gonna make it good, right? So like, but that, by skipping out on those uh, cheap treats, as we'll call them, it's it's just, just think about all of the sugar and stuff that I'm skipping out by only having that once a week. So it's it's been fun, just and I've splurged more on the Joy Eat because I know that I can. and I know that it's something that I've earned and have worked towards, and it's like a reward. It's a celebration. And usually, by the time I've pretty much every week, there's been a few small plateaus, but pretty much every week in this program, as I've been going, um, I'm losing, 2 to 3 pounds per week. And it's been rewarding to watch that progress and then go celebrate that.
Yeah, and the thing is, I love that you said it's really all about the delayed gratification, because you're not denying yourself of the food, which I feel like is what makes people feel that restriction when you're saying like you can't have it ever, and like don't, like it's bad that you want that, but it's really just saying no, you could have it. You just, this is when you can have it. Like I'll have it
Yeah,
at this day, this time. You're not depriving yourself, you're not like denying yourself of the food. And I think that's really um, an awesome thing that you mentioned there, because it's true. It's like you're not, when you don't, when you say no to yourself, like just thinking of like when your parents say no to you, you just immediately want to like rebel. But but then if you say yes to yourself just like at a later time, then there's no, I feel like there's no tug of war there.
exactly. And that's, all of the little sugar cravings that I have all just kind of like get swept to the side when I think about a bigger craving, like, you know, going to my favorite ice cream shop, which I'll probably do today.
Oh,
um, yeah. Or like, the piece of candy that's sitting in the kitchen, like I'm not gonna sacrifice my joy eat just for a little piece of candy. Sorry, I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna go make it good. So
right.
but normally I would be picking up and grabbing whatever, was in sight before.
Right. Right. Like we kind of subconsciously just kind of eat, like we reactively or impulsively eat what's there just because, we want
Just
that
because it's
instant
there.
gratification. Yeah, like that instant dopamine hit just because it's like in front of us, but you've trained yourself to really plan ahead, to really think about your food choices, and then you enjoy it in that moment so much more than if you had collectively just eating all the little things.
Yeah.
So those
And
are
this
big.
is some and this is something that I think my wife must have somehow slipped you a note or something, because she's always been getting on my case about actually enjoying my food and not just wolfing it down.
Yes.
So, uh, anyways, that's been something I've been working on a lot, and it's still a work in progress. But it just by having one joy eat week, it produces that by itself.
Right. And it's so true. It's like you think like you don't want the crappy junk food that's just like, cheap ingredient. Like you want the good stuff, the high quality stuff. And it really makes this relationship with yourself where you're just you want to feed your body like a higher quality food rather than just what's like cheap and available. And I think that's awesome that you've been creating that sort of relationship with yourself, which is cool to see. And that your cravings did go down over time, even if you're eating ice cream still once a week or whatever it is. So I was wondering, what were the results you did get at the end of the program? Like, what was your after like? How did you feel? What was your energy, and how much weight did you lose?
Well, I've lost 31 pounds as of today. So that's the biggest win to me. And, Charmaine, you had told me at the very beginning that you thought I could lose 30 pounds. So, um, I highly doubted that. I was like, well, maybe we'll get close, but it'll be worth it still. So just the fact that I don't know if that's exactly 3 months since we started, but anyways, I'd say we hit the goal. But the other thing is too is that I had some old jeans that I had sitting around taking up space because kept telling myself someday I'll fit into them. Well, now they're starting to fit. So
Oh,
um,
nice.
things like that. I would say I've probably lost at least 2 inches in the waist, and hips, if not more. Um, trying to think of some other
Your
big
body
wins
fat
there.
went down a lot too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can pull up the metrics on that here in just a second. But just overall feeling better. And, you had told me, I don't feel that after lunch slump anymore. It's been, great for my energy levels because I'm not cramming a bunch of sugar in my system all day.
Right.
So I went from 33% body fat January 1st of this year, and now I'm just a tad below 26%.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yep, super exciting.
Nice. So,
Still
John,
doesn't feel real, so.
it doesn't feel like, do you feel weird? Like you don't feel like it happened?
Yeah, I mean, well, the past 3 months have just flown by. And I will say the other thing too is I'm a business owner. I've been super incredibly focused on my business as well as the fact that we have a baby boy coming here in October. And so, you know, those things have helped drive me forward and not just sit on the couch and think about my cravings. So, been a lot of, I would say like one of the keys here is just been distracting myself from thinking about it.
Yeah. And really focusing on what matters to you, it sounds like really remembering that purpose for why you joined and wanting to be the father that you want to be, like have that energy for your child, for your son when he comes, and showing up as the entrepreneur that you want to be, and remembering
Right.
all those purposes you had. Which is why I always tell clients when we start working together, like, what's your why? Like, what is that purpose that will keep you going, even if you don't see the weight change right away, even when you doubt yourself. So I think that's awesome. You did have that very clear reason for yourself. And did thinking of that ever help you get through in those moments where you weren't really sure if it would work or not?
Certainly. I was just tired of being caught in the same cycle. And so um, the results started to happen pretty quick for me. Um, and so that I would say the results and the reward cycle of seeing results was probably the biggest thing that helped me keep going forward.
Awesome. And you've been so consistent. I've just been so proud of you, John. Like, you would send me your journals every single day. You'd weigh yourself every day, send me your weekly measurements. Like, this guy, you guys, like, you know, we have fun on the calls, but he did the work. He planned his meals. He did the weekly JoyEats and put in that consistent effort, which is what makes the difference over time. So I really wanted to congratulate you on that. Like, just remembering all those daily actions you did created all
Yeah.
these results for you.
Yeah. And I would, I would say as a byproduct of like losing weight, it may seem insignificant, but it does help build confidence because any time in life that, we can feel like we're accomplishing what we wanted to, it builds confidence in ourselves, and that spills over into other areas of life. So, I would say this has probably helped me in my business more than I even realize, and just in life in general.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome, John. That just like fills my heart and makes me feel so like warm and gooey inside. So thank you. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, you're gonna make me feel emotional. So I was wondering, John, really quick, for those of like anyone who's watching this who still might be on the fence, going sugar free, or might be on the fence joining my program or working one-on-one with me, what might you say to them? Like, what advice might you offer to them?
I would say that if I was giving advice to myself, 3.5 months ago, um, I would just say that it's easier than it seems because sometimes, uh, and Charmaine's had to coach me through this several times. Some of these mental blocks that we build up change, as being so insurmountable and so big in our head. We make a giant out of, something that's not a giant. It's much smaller than that. But Charmaine helps to make a plan to take down that giant in your mind, and to make a path forward and to conquer the giant. And then you realize, oh, it wasn't nearly as big as I thought it was.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much, John. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, all our obstacles that we have are all just thoughts. Like, they're all just our perspective, our story about a situation, and it's always our choice how we look at things. So I do love that you put it that way, that we kind of create the giant. We actually create that giant in our head, and then we also could we could choose not to we could choose to take care of the giant and not even have it there. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's such an important piece, that it's really what it comes down to is how you are looking at things.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, I think that's why having a coach is so helpful, is because trying to just do this on your own by, reading a book or whatever, that you can do it, but until you've done it at least once with a coach, it just makes help overcoming those doubts and beliefs and thoughts much, much easier.
Right.
And I've tried book-based programs in the past, and maybe stuck with it for a couple weeks or a month or something like that, but it was running into those obstacles. I didn't have anybody I could turn to and say, is this a real thought? Is this a real doubt? And of course, Charmaine was always quick to squash those.
I like that. Squash it like a bug.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh. And that's so true. Like, so many people are trying to, I think that's a big piece too. Like, I think sometimes, like, really coming to know ourselves and knowing when we do need help with things, and getting the help we need can just help us reach our goals so much faster and help us get to the point where we want to be. Because anyone could do it on their own if they wanted, but just imagine how much work you'd have to do to, like, catch all those things on your own, versus if someone was really seeing that for you and then pointing it out for you, like, way faster. So I just commend you for having that, for being vulnerable and being willing to be coached, like showing up like on every call. That was amazing. And not everyone wants to be coached. So that I just want to commend you for that, like showing up and being willing to hear what I have to say too.
No, I knew that if I was going to see the results, that I had to stick with the plan, obviously. So, the coaching I came to rely on quite a bit, because it's just been, phenomenal. And like I said, not everybody is as patient with me not being as the easiest client out there. So
I'm so patient, you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
She is.
Oh, thank you so much, John. Well, I appreciate you for coming on. I'm so proud of you for everything you've accomplished. And congratulations ahead of time on your baby boy. And again, you have done such great work. And thank you so much for coming on my little show today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Always fun to joke around and talk to you.
Oh, thanks, John. All right, you guys. So thanks so much for tuning in today. I love these client spotlights. I just always am so proud of the work that the people I'm coaching are doing. It's not always easy, but they are so consistent. And if you're interested in joining my next program, I do have a VIP one-on-one coaching program where you get to work with me one-on-one and also work with a group coaching program. And I have a 6-week program that's coming up too. So I'll tell you more about it. But anyways, you guys, message me if you have questions on that. Thank you so much, John. And congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys. Take care.